You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. Well, for the second consecutive week, LSU has held a players-only meeting. It was Mekhi Garner who was doing player interviews on Tuesday, and he told reporters that after the Tennessee loss on Monday, they held a players-only meeting. Said the message was the lopsided result, that the execution was unacceptable. This is all in a tweet from Shea Dixon, by the way. Garner said they started with special teams, then poured into the rest. Said it was a great reset for the team. Okay. Last week, I didn't really care about the players-only meeting between Jaden Daniels and the receivers because who cares? I mean, players should talk. I mean, they should talk and talk often. I think we make a lot of the players-only meeting thing. I don't know why players continue to discuss this. I think it does illustrate two things. Number one, it's give a damn that they do actually care and want to be better and recognize when things are wrong. And number two, it's that you have vocal leadership. Does it result in anything? No. LSU's quarterbacks and receivers last week had a players-only meeting, and they were brutal throwing the football. I mean, I say that. They threw for 300 yards, but I think we all understand how that game all transpired. And LSU threw it 45 times. They were throwing to catch up, and it's kind of what it was. I don't think anybody would look at the passing offense on Saturday and say it was efficient. And I don't know that a players-only meeting after losing against Tennessee is going to make you any better this week, but what hopefully it does is get you to lock in a little bit and show that this team cares about improving and getting better. Brian Kelly on Wednesday on the SEC Coaches Teleconference was asked his opinion on players-only meetings.
Yeah, I mean, you can have a lot of emotions after a loss like we had. The most important emotion is that they care, and this team cares, and they care about the things necessary that go to winning. Look, the line is long for those people that want to win. The line is not quite as long for those that are willing to do the things necessary to win. And these guys want to do the things necessary to win. And so that's what they're asking. They want to know what they can do to be better, to continue to work towards our process of, being excellent. Average is not good enough. So I applaud them. I think it's outstanding that they have the right emotions. It's not one where they're pointing fingers, and they want to be accountable and be the best version of themselves. That's a good thing.
I would completely agree with him. I don't know that in any way alters the result against Tennessee or this week against Florida, but all the things he just said about being in the right frame of mind and what your motivation is and all that's accountability, all that is very, very true and shows a lot of maturity, which is a good thing. And I think a good thing as far as building the foundation for what the future of this program will be. Now, specifically with Tennessee, Mekhi Garner, here's what he said about what happened in that loss.
I don't think we just had the urgency. We didn't take initiative to get lined up, to get the calls, to get our cleats in the dirt. I think that was our biggest mistake, going against a team, especially as good as Tennessee was.
They lacked urgency. Honestly, that's something that Cole Kublik talked about with us here on Monday. One of the big takeaways from our conversation with Cole, if you missed it, I would highly recommend you go back and listen to it. It was Monday in hour number 2. He said he was stunned in the first 2 drives how many times LSU's defensive front didn't have their hand in the dirt when Tennessee was snapping the football. They're going to go fast. How are you not lined up? I mean, that's legitimate. I mean, and Tennessee scored a lot and scored often and scored seemingly easily. And this week it's a different kind of challenge, but a challenge nonetheless. A challenge from a Florida team that has shown they can spin it and they can score. They did so against Tennessee. They had far more success against Tennessee than you did. Now, it's a different type of challenge with Anthony Richardson because of his dynamic running ability. Cam Newton-esque, I think is fair to say. When you talk about a guy that's that big, that has that much wiggle, make you miss, and can also run for power. I mean, it's special. It's a special skill set. And if you remember how the game a year ago in Baton Rouge went, Emory Jones started for Florida. He had a touchdown and 2 picks. And nobody could tackle Ty Davis-Price. I mean, Ty Davis-Price went for 287 in the ballgame. 36 carries for 287. He averaged 8 yards a carry. They just couldn't stop the counterplay. But Emory Jones was turning the football over, so they went to Anthony Richardson, and he threw for $167 and 3 touchdowns and almost rallied Florida back into the game. I mean, Florida put up a 22-point third quarter and rallied from down 2 scores. But LSU just kept the pressure on. Scored 49 in the game. But Florida scored 4. I mean, the thing that's overlooked often in that ball game, because LSU won and Ty Davis-Price had the day it did, is that Florida put up 488 yards. Florida outgained LSU in that ball game. Florida out first downed LSU. They outgained LSU. They certainly outpassed LSU. They didn't outrush LSU in the ball game. And Florida did not commit a single penalty in that game either. So Florida did a lot right. They just turned the ball over and couldn't stop Ty Davis-Price. So you're going to see a lot of the same personnel with an offense that's more suitable, I would say, to a running quarterback. I mean, we saw what Billy Napier did at ULL with a running quarterback. It's what he wants to do, and he's got a better athlete there and a really good offensive line. So stopping Anthony Richardson or trying to slow Anthony Richardson is going to be just the key for LSU defensively. Here was Brian Kelly talking about Anthony Richardson, the Florida quarterback, who they're going to face on Saturday.
Yeah, I said this, I think, earlier in the week at my press conference. There's some similarities between him and Hendon Hooker in terms of size and physicality, his ability to throw the football. These are similar quarterbacks, and they're talking about Hooker as a Heisman Trophy candidate. So, he's got incredible skill. We're going to have to do a great job of containing him. They've got an outstanding offensive line that protects him very well and allows him to run the football, which gives him the opportunity to obviously have a balanced offense and throw the football because they're so good at running the football. So a very talented player.
Florida is a very good rushing offense, and I think LSU's run defense, which was exposed a little bit against Tennessee, I think in large part was exposed because of Tennessee's ability to be multidimensional. I don't believe Florida's ability to throw the ball is it's certainly not what Tennessee's is. Tennessee's receivers are more dynamic. There is no Brew McCoy in that Florida receiving corps. Their best receiver is Ricky Purcell, who's a transfer from Arizona State, who was just a guy at Arizona State. He's the best guy at Florida. So you don't worry so much about the one-on-one matchups with Florida's receivers and LSU's secondary, which is why LSU should, in theory, be able to commit numbers to the box to try to limit this Florida offense. Now, that's easier said than done, but you could look up and down and you could say, Kentucky held Florida to 16. Missouri held Florida to 24. Both those games were on their home field. So you look at Kentucky's blueprint, Richardson was 14 of 35 passing for 143 and 2 picks. The turnovers were a problem. The inaccuracy throwing, which is a lot of what LSU did to Will Rogers in that game against Mississippi State. And running the football in that game against Kentucky, Florida ran it for just $136. They had 279 yards of total offense. Kentucky gave you the blueprint of how to limit Florida's offense. And it's a lot of what LSU did to Mississippi State as well. So, I like Matt House a lot. I think in large part he has done a masterful job this year of maximizing his talent. You were outmanned last week. You got behind early, and it was just never going to be easy against Tennessee to begin with. This is a matchup where for LSU's defense, it is more manageable. The bigger question for LSU is can they score? Can they go and score on the road against Florida and limit big plays and not get down 3 scores like they were against Auburn? You have to battle your way back because I don't know if it's going to be possible against a Florida team that is certainly better than Auburn and a team at Florida with a good offensive line that's capable of running the ball and chewing the clock. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.